If someone lets you go easily, if it seems like your absence doesn't weigh on them, if they disappear from your life without effort, it's natural that you feel an emptiness, that uncertainty torments you. But what Carl Jung teaches us is that these kinds of experiences are not random. They are manifestations of something deeper we carry inside. What you're feeling right now isn't just sadness over a loss, but an opportunity to discover a truth you perhaps haven't wanted to see until now. The unconscious speaks to us constantly through our relationships, showing us patterns, placing us in front of mirrors where our own wounds, fears, and unresolved desires are reflected. When someone leaves our life abruptly without fighting to stay, without showing that our presence truly meant something to them, our inner world shakes. But not because of the loss itself, but because it forces us to face the question we avoid most. Did they really value me? Or was it just an illusion I created myself? Jung said that relationships are nothing more than stages where our psyche is projected. What we see in the other, what hurts us, what fascinates us, what disturbs us, all of it is a reflection of something within us. If you feel like someone lets you go without effort, ask yourself, how many times have I let myself go? How many times have I abandoned myself seeking someone else's approval? How many times have I given away my personal power without realizing it? The problem isn't that someone lets you go, but what that awakens in you. Because when love is real, when a connection is authentic, both souls feel it. But if someone can let you go without looking back, if their absence doesn't seem to cause them any conflict, what you're really facing isn't the end of a relationship, but the awakening of your consciousness. Life is showing you, with harshness but with clarity, that it's time to stop holding on to what was never yours in the first place. And here's where one of Jung's most powerful concepts comes in: the shadow, that part of us we hide, repress, deny. That version of you that maybe once believed it had to be a certain way to deserve love. But when someone lets you go easily, when it seems your existence didn't leave a mark on their life, what you're really seeing is a projection of your own shadow. That part of you that still believes it's not enough. That inner voice telling you you're not worthy of being chosen, valued, loved. But Jung taught us something fundamental. The shadow isn't our enemy, but our teacher. What hurts you today, what feels like a blow to your ego, is actually an invitation to integrate that part of you that hasn't yet been recognized. It's time to ask yourself, why am I seeking validation from someone who doesn't want to give it? Why do I let someone else's recognition determine my own worth? If someone can let you go without effort, then maybe they were never truly connected to you. Maybe they were just playing a role in your story, a role meant to show you something important about yourself. And now that they're gone from your life, what remains is what's essential. You, your relationship with yourself, your ability to build yourself without needing anyone else's approval. Most people hold on because they're afraid of the void, scared that if they let go, there'll be nothing left. But Jung would tell us that the void isn't an enemy, but a door. It's in the void where transformation happens, in the darkness where we finally see what was hidden before. So instead of asking why someone let you go, start asking, what part of me needs to be discovered now that this person is no longer here? That's where the real journey begins. In the next part of this message, I'll take you even deeper into this process, so you can understand not only how to heal, but how to become someone who no longer has to beg for love or recognition. Before moving on, I want to let you know that my book is now available. It's full of advice and techniques to help you overcome emotional blocks and love yourself more. Find the link in the description, in the pinned comment. Let's continue. If someone lets you go easily, if your absence doesn't weigh on them, you might feel empty, wondering if you ever meant anything to that person. But what's really happening isn't about the other. It's about you. Because as Carl Jung said, everything we experience in the outer world is just a reflection of what's happening in our inner world. That feeling of abandonment, of indifference, of not having been important enough doesn't come from that person, but from a much deeper wound within you. Every relationship you've been in has been a mirror, a reflection of how you see yourself, how much value you think you have, how much love you believe you deserve. And if someone has been able to leave without fighting for you, without showing your presence was indispensable in their life, what hurts isn't their departure, but the evidence that maybe you were giving your heart to someone who was never truly present. But why did you do it? Why did you stay giving to something you deep down knew wasn't mutual? Jung taught us that much of our relationships are dominated by our shadow, that unconscious part we drag from childhood, from experiences that shaped our perception of love and abandonment. If you grew up feeling you had to prove your worth to be loved, if you learned at some point that love is earned through effort, then every time someone lets you go easily, that old pattern wakes up in you. Your unconscious screams, "I'm not enough. That's why they leave me." But the truth is much deeper. It's not that you're not enough, it's that you keep seeking to be chosen by people incapable of truly seeing you. You can't control what others feel for you. You can't force anyone to stay. But you can ask yourself, why have I given so much to someone unwilling to receive me? Why did I settle for crumbs? Why did I keep justifying their lack of interest, their emotional absence, their coldness? Jung said the unconscious always finds a way to manifest in our reality. And if you've found yourself in relationships where you seem to be the only one fighting, it's because there's a deeply rooted belief inside you that love is something you earn, not something you naturally receive. But here's the truth. When someone lets you go without effort, they're doing you a favor. They're freeing you from the illusion you were living in. They're showing you, with harshness, what you didn't want to see. Because if that person were truly in tune with you, if they really shared your energy, you wouldn't need to beg for their presence. It's not about fighting. It's not about convincing anyone to choose you. True love doesn't need to be forced. Real love is mutual, flows without obstacles, without doubts, without indifference. You might feel anger right now. Your mind might be searching for answers, wondering what you did wrong. But the question isn't, what did I do wrong? It's, why did I think I needed to do something to be loved? How many times have you tried too hard? How many times have you justified someone's disinterest, thinking maybe if you were different, if you changed something about yourself, then they'd love you as you deserve? This is where your awakening begins. Jung taught us that to truly heal, we must first see our wound clearly. And this experience of feeling someone leave your life without looking back isn't a punishment, but a revelation. It's not telling you you're worthless. It's showing you where you still need to work on your relationship with yourself. Because when you truly value yourself, when you understand your own power, you no longer need anyone to choose you. You stop seeking validation from those who can't give it. And most importantly, you stop holding on to what doesn't belong to you. Letting go isn't losing. It's making space for what is yours. It's stopping the investment of energy in someone unwilling to share it with you. It's recognizing that love, when it's real, doesn't hurt, doesn't confuse, doesn't create anxiety or uncertainty. Real love is clarity, certainty, presence, and if someone could let you go easily, it means they were never truly connected to you, not the way you deserve. So the real question is, what will you do with this truth? Will you keep holding on to the idea that you should have been more to be chosen? Or will you start choosing yourself, healing that part of you that still believes love is something you beg for? When you start seeing yourself through the eyes of self-love, everything changes. You stop attracting people who overlook you. You stop investing energy in those who don't value you. You no longer need to prove anything to feel worthy. And that's when the magic happens. When you stop seeking outside what's always been inside you. Because when you truly love yourself, the world around you transforms and the people incapable of seeing you simply stop being part of your story. But there's something even deeper you need to understand about this experience. In the next part of this message, I'll take you to that point where you can finally free yourself from the weight you've been carrying. Because letting go isn't just releasing the other. It's letting go of the version of you that thought you had to hold on. When someone leaves your life easily, it's not a sign of your lack of worth, but a manifestation of what that person always was. Not everyone who enters your life is meant to stay, and not everyone who leaves does so because you did something wrong. Sometimes the greatest lesson is learning to accept that some people were only there to show you something, to reflect a part of yourself you needed to see clearly. But what happens when the pain of that departure turns into an obsession? Why do we cling so tightly to people who've already decided to leave? Jung taught us that everything we repress in the unconscious seeks to express itself somehow in our lives. And often that irrational attachment, that inability to let go of someone who let you go without effort, comes from wounds that have nothing to do with that person in particular. The problem isn't that someone left, but what their departure triggers in you. Maybe it connects you to a fear of abandonment, to the feeling of being invisible, to the emptiness of not feeling enough. Because if you're honest with yourself, maybe you already knew that person wasn't truly present. Maybe you'd already noticed the signs but chose to ignore them. And now in their absence, your mind is trying to cling to a story that only existed inside you, not in reality. Jung spoke of the importance of integrating our shadow, that part of us we refuse to see because it's uncomfortable. And right now, what's hardest for you to accept is that love isn't something you force. If someone can leave you without thinking twice, it's because their place in your life was temporary. Their mission is over. And the only reason it hurts so much is because your mind is holding on to a version of the story that was never real. But here's the harshest truth. The problem isn't that that person didn't choose you, but that you keep believing you need to be chosen, that somehow love is something others grant you instead of something already inside you. And as long as you keep waiting for someone else to validate your worth, you'll keep attracting people who reflect that lack of self-love. You finally decided to break it. Because here's the key to all of this. What hurts you most isn't that person's departure, but the betrayal of yourself. Realizing that for so long, you were the one abandoning yourself trying to hold on to someone who was never truly with you. That's a hard truth to accept, but it's also the most liberating. Because if the problem isn't the other person, but how you've treated yourself over the years, then you also have the power to change it, to stop seeking love from those who can't give it, to let go without resentment, to understand that your worth isn't defined by who stays or who leaves. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting or ignoring what you feel. It means facing it head on and understanding that every experience, no matter how painful, has a purpose in your evolution. It means recognizing that every person who's passed through your life has been a teacher, showing you what you still need to heal, what you haven't wanted to see. And if right now you feel like you can't let go, that the idea of moving forward without that person seems unbearable, ask yourself this. Do I really miss that person, or just the story I built in my mind? Do I really want them back, or am I just avoiding facing my own emptiness? Love shouldn't be a struggle. You shouldn't have to convince anyone to stay. You shouldn't feel like you need to try harder to be enough. When you truly love yourself, love stops being a search and becomes a natural attraction. Because when you learn to value yourself, the people who come into your life reflect that love instead of questioning it. So this is the moment to make a decision. You can keep holding on to what never was, keep letting someone's absence define your worth, or you can start building something entirely new within yourself, something that doesn't depend on anyone else, something that can't be destroyed by someone's departure. Because when you finally learn to let go, you discover that true love was never outside you. It was inside you all along. And all you had to do was remember it. When you finally decide to let go, when you stop clinging to what was never truly yours, something profound starts to change within you. You no longer need answers from the other. You stop looking for signs where there are none. You stop trying to justify the absence of someone who was never truly present. In that moment, you realize the real problem was never the person who left, but the idea you built of them, the illusion of what you hope to receive, the projection of what you still haven't given yourself. Carl Jung taught us that real transformation happens when we dare to look inside ourselves without filters, without excuses, without deceit. And what this process of letting go is showing you is that you can't keep waiting for someone else to confirm your worth. You can't keep giving your energy to those who aren't in tune with you, or let someone's absence define how you feel about yourself. When someone lets you go easily, it's a sign that their role in your life is over. It doesn't mean you failed. It doesn't mean you need to change to be accepted. It means there's something much bigger waiting for you somewhere else. But you can't see it while you keep looking back. Because every time you cling to the past, every time you obsess over what could have been, you're moving further from what can be. Self-love isn't about saying nice words in front of a mirror or repeating empty affirmations. It's about making decisions that reflect how you truly feel about yourself. It's about setting boundaries, not begging, not staying where your energy isn't valued. It's about knowing when it's time to close a chapter without resentment, without waiting for the other to come back, without getting trapped in a story that only exists in your mind. When you decide to let go with awareness, with trust in yourself, the universe responds. What once seemed like a loss becomes a liberation. What once hurt now feels like a gift. Because deep down, you always knew you deserved more. And all you had to do was allow it. If this message resonated with you, if you feel it move something inside you, I invite you to share it. Maybe there's someone in your life who needs to hear this. Someone still trapped in a relationship that's not good for them. Someone who needs to understand that letting go isn't losing, but opening space for what they truly deserve. Leave me a comment below. Tell me what impacted you most about this message, what you're willing to let go of starting today. I want to know how this knowledge is transforming your perspective. If you haven't yet, subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss more content like this. Every time you share, comment, or interact with this video, you're helping this message reach more people who need it. Remember this, letting go isn't giving up. It's trusting that the best is yet to come. And when you let go with love, the universe rewards you with something far greater than you ever imagined. Thank you for being here, for listening, for allowing yourself to grow. See you in the next video.